It's good to see you on this Wednesday of Holy Week as we try to just share a brief devotional thought for us to be thinking through some of the things that Jesus was teaching in the temple during this day and how he was bringing attention to the fact of his disciples that the temple where they stood, he had taken them up onto a high place in the temple, and he said, look around you. And he said, you see all these stones? The day is coming when not a stone will be standing on top of one another. And he was reminding them that there would be a day that this temple will be destroyed. And that led the conversation that we find in Matthew 24 to the teaching of the signs of the return of Christ, because the disciples asked the question, Lord, when will this take place? And the Lord followed up by then beginning to teach them some of the things. And he says this in verse 4 of chapter 24. He said, and Jesus answered and said to them, see to it that no one misleads you, for many will come in my name, saying, I'm the Christ, and will mislead many. You will be hearing of wars and rumors of wars. See that you're not frightened, for those things must take place. But that is not yet the end, for nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and in various places there will be famines and earthquakes. But in all of these things are merely the beginning of the birth pains. Then they will deliver you in tribulation and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations because of my name. And at that time many will fall away and will betray one another and hate one another. Many false prophets will arise and mislead many. Because lawlessness is increased, most people's love will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end, he will be saved. This gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. And so we see Jesus is responding to their question, when will this time come? And he reminds them that it will come, but what you're seeing now and what we will see in the days to come will be simply the birth pangs. Like in a birth pain, things are going to get harder and harder and harder as the birth grows closer. And so he's reminding us with that picture that what we see in the world today are things that are going to begin to happen more often and with more severity as it leads up to his return. And he talks then, a section of his conversation is continuing about the perilous times that will come and all of those things that he says there, reminding them that through all of that the Lord will rescue his people. And we see that as we look to verse 29, as he reminds us and is reminding them of his glorious return. Listen to what he says in 29 through 31 of this chapter. He says, but immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. And then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds in the sky with power and great glory. And he will send forth his angels with a great trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. And he gives us this picture to remind us that there is that day that he will return. So he is teaching his disciples and teaching us that we need to continue to anticipate his return. And as we see all of these things happening in the world, none of this is a surprise. It is part of what must take place in order for his timing to be perfect timing. And when his timing is perfect, it says to us there that he will come in power and in glory. You remember the first time that Jesus came, that babe born in the manger, he came humbly in humility to provide salvation. He became the one who would take away the sins of the world. Literally, the name Jesus means our God saves. And so he was given that name. And then as he has now preparing to walk the hill of Calvary for us and to give himself as that sacrificial lamb, he is now teaching his disciples to look past just that, look past the death, look forward to the resurrection, and then look also to his return, for his return will be a glorious return. So as we think of the things in Holy Week this week, let's remember that Jesus did not want our focus just to be on this week and what's taking place, but he wanted us to lift our eyes to Him and to look forward to His return. So as we think through the events of the rest of this week, let's remember that the purpose of these events was, yes, indeed, to save sinful men, but not to save us just for today, but to save us throughout all eternity, and there will be that day. You remember Jesus told His disciples in John 14, "Let not your hearts be troubled. Believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions." He was preparing them even then for His coming to receive them unto Himself. You remember He said it this way, "If I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself, so that where I am, there you may be also." So even in these moments, as Jesus is in Jerusalem, knowing what He's staring ahead of Him over the next few days, He is still reminding His disciples to keep your eyes focused on the heavens. Look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. You have a great day, and may God bless you today and in the days as we continue to walk with Him through this holy week.